up, everybody? It's Albert Vartanian here. We're getting ready for room 442 today, and my colleagues, James Sharma and Michael Singh, join me. Guys, the Champions League yesterday was some incredible games. Specifically, let's touch on Tottenham, Mikey. 2-1. They somehow came through. Probably didn't deserve to win that game, though.
Won me some money.
I can't believe you bet them to win.
Honestly, like I was telling you, I was thinking the game would play out exactly how it did, minus the first half. I thought the first half would be a little bit more competitive.
Right.
Tottenham obviously got destroyed the first half, but then I was thinking, Marseille need to win this game to advance. They're going to push bodies forward. Tottenham, dangerous on the counterattack.
Yeah.
I thought that's exactly what would have happened. I didn't expect it would come in the 95th minute from Hojbjerg with an absolute screamer, but
Spurs were dead.
it worked out.
They
looked horrible. And Gabby Abungahor on TalkSport was saying it looked like Spurs were playing the best ever Real Madrid team.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they're playing a team filled with Premier League flops. This just keeps happening with Spurs.
Conte, I mean, at what point would he fall out of love with three at the back? Right? Because he made the switch and it looked much better, obviously. It was amazing, though, wasn't it, how last week's game, at the very death, like the last kick of the game, Harry Kane scores the goal and it gets pulled back because of VAR. This time around, last kick of the game, basically, Hojbjerg scores, it counts. It's just a funny old game, football sometimes, isn't it? They were awful in the first half. Second half, much better.
That's been the trend all season.
You're a Spurs fan, right? What is the sentiment regarding Antonio Conte?
It's
this
mixed.
Spurs
right now it's mixed. It's like you love it because he's Antonio Conte. He's one of the best managers in the world, and can't believe that he's at Spurs. Honestly, you can't really believe it. But then the other side, you watch this like fossil football. It's horrible to watch. That first half, that's how Spurs have been playing all season long and somehow getting results. But it's going to come to an end. We've seen this with this bad patch. And they played poor against Bournemouth, won it at the death. They played poorly against Marseille, they won it at the death. Now they have Liverpool, and you look at those types of games, and they kind of get up for the big teams.
Except for United.
Except for United. Thank you, Mikey, for reminding me of that. But you don't know what you're going to get with this team. You really don't.
You don't, but I mean, this is what you signed up for with Conte, right? This is what he does. Let me ask you this. Would you rather, and ask you as well, as a fan of whoever you support, would you rather your team play incredible swashbuckling football week in and week out? It's edgy, you see the staff, you're entertained, and you win nothing?
Right.
Or would you rather, labor through Antonio Conte football, but maybe get a cup out of it,
or
even a league? Who knows?
That was Pochettino era. Played incredible football, won nothing.
Yeah.
But the fans were so happy. I mean, as a Spurs fan, we felt so connected to Poch as a manager. He bridged that gap between the fans and the players and the team, whereas Mourinho, Nuno, and Conte haven't done that.
But it's funny because Spurs is one of those teams that, traditionally speaking, play attacking football, right? And the fans want that and they expect that it's part of our DNA. Same as Liverpool, same as United as well.
Yeah.
Those two teams have at times found ways to combine both, theatre and success, right? You can do both if you're lucky, right? But it's funny how some fan bases expect a certain way and to hell with everything else. But trophies change everything, right? And for sure, if Conte picks up, let's not go crazy.
Carabao
Cup? Yeah, a League Cup? Why not an FA Cup?
I'd be so happy.
An FA Cup. Why not an FA Cup? You'd be delighted, right?
I'm a big FA Cup guy. I know it's
so am I.
It's being dismissed a bit over the past few years, but no, I love the FA Cup. And for Spurs to win
best cup knockout tournament in world sports.
Yeah, I don't mind the Carabao Cup. I hate the name of it, but it's still a League Cup.
Yeah.
Right? No?
It used to be great back in the day, but the Champions League came around and grew and got bigger and more important. That Carabao Cup is just
I know.
Unless you win it, it's fantastic.
The energy drink cup.
I loved it last year. It's great.
The biggest takeaway from that game, in my opinion, is Son.
I know.
What's going on with him?
Well, he looked concussed, and I told you guys, his face looks... I'm no doctor, so I'm not going to say what's wrong with him.
Are you not?
No, I'm not. I know. I play one on TV, though.
I'll stop calling you doc.
Yeah. So his face looks swollen. He clearly looked like he was concussed. I'm just wondering if he busted up his orbital bone, which is, one, that's horrible for him, bad for Spurs, and South Korea heading to the World Cup. Like, if there's one nation that relies on a player, it's South Korea.
I can't get out of my head now, Albert wearing like surgical scrubs, right? And if say we were involved like a plane crash and stuck on an island, I got appendicitis.
Yeah.
I'd let you operate on
I
me.
would help you.
Yeah, you would, right?
I mean,
You'd cut into me.
Yeah. I'd probably... never mind. I was going to go dark there.
The appendix is down here.
He's on TV.
Not up here.
Let's talk about your boys, Liverpool.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Picking up a big result at Anfield.
Yeah, another big one. Turning the corner.
Well, against the best team in Europe. It's got to mean something.
Yeah, it's a great one. I mean, listen, Napoli is superb, right? Unbeaten, barely conceded goals. I have to admit, and I feel so dirty for this.
Oh, here we go.
Right? I put
Yeah.
money on a draw in that one, right? And it's 0-0 until after the 80th
Yeah.
minute, and I'm like, I actually swore when they scored. And like, you know how awful that is? As a
As a
fan, a
fan.
die-hard fan of a
Yeah.
team, and you swear because your team scored a goal. They're both advanced, right? And I put $5 in that draw, which for me is a lot of money.
My goal of turning you into a degenerate gambler is working.
It's not even
genuinely
surely.
working.
I would never put
It
$5
started off with
on
$5.
until I started working here with you.
I know.
Yeah.
Hey,
Used to
if
be-
you can win some money, that'd be great. You didn't this time around, but a lot of talk about Darwin Nunez.
Yep.
Jamie Carragher saying that his goal record per minute is impressive. 107 minutes. Every 107 minutes, he scores a goal. Not bad for a quote unquote flop.
Not $100 million player. Not $100 million.
What's a
player.
$100 million player though? Like
Yeah,
really?
seriously.
I mean, it's someone who is the face of your team, in my opinion.
Okay.
Nowadays, I don't know.
But
Yeah,
you
I guess
also
that
that
needles
100
can't
million is you're also paying for potential,
Yeah.
right? What this player can become.
And you're
It's
paying
not
for
just
goals.
about what he is right now.
You're not paying 100 mil for a defender very often, right? It's for goals.
Harry Maguire can't close.
Well,
Yeah, there you go.
but Nunez he's scoring goals, and Klopp's trying to figure out what he is, where he fits into his system, what's the best formation for him. It takes players time to adjust to new leagues. Haaland ruined everything for him, right? Because Haaland just
Yeah.
walked into the Premier League and scored for fun.
Threw in
What's
everything.
his,
now
what's
you
his
compare-
goals per minute?
Holland 58.
That's stupid.
And I believe he hasn't scored in his last two
It's
games.
been a few games, yeah.
But
Right? Imagine what it was before that.
Because he was under 45.
Yeah.
Because he was scoring more than one a game.
Insane.
It's just
Yeah.
stupid.
Behind
He's
Lewandowski,
ruined
who-
Nunez's, move to England because the comparison is always there,
Yeah.
and it always will be there, unfortunately, right?
Of course.
It's like Crosby Ovechkin, the hockey parlance,
Yeah.
right? There's always that comparison, always going to be there.
Two similar type of players made the same move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Similar age. Yeah, it's gonna
I'm a
be
fan
there.
of Darwin. He's up,
I think
definitely
I think
raw,
he'll be
but
fine.
There's a good player there.
He won't be Haaland, that's fine. But if he can be a guy that will put in 20 a season, which I think he can, it's probably worth 100 million.
How do you feel about your golden boot golden boot bet?
Not so great.
Oh,
Darwin Nunez
No.
to win
I
the
got
golden
Salah
boot.
as well in a separate bet.
To win the golden boot?
That's right.
he might
I
win
mean,
the
he
Golden
wa-
Boot
he-
in Champions
Well,
League.
he's in better shape than Nunez, so we'll see how bad this Haaland injury is.
He did hold the record,
Who?
right, for most goals scored in a Premier League season. Mo Salah.
Oh yeah, in the 38 game format.
think,
yeah.
yeah, 33.
Before that, it
I
was
think he equaled it, didn't he?
before that was
Just
Shearer
something
and
like that.
York,
Shearer and Andy Cole.
Andy Cole,
34
yeah, yeah.
goals, I think it was.
which Holland will probably fly past.
Which was Premier League era.
Yeah.
yeah. Was it Premier League era?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
Salah
no,
got
it was
second.
the amount of games.
Yeah.
The difference. Whatever.
As I say,
Semantics.
we always research before we come
Yeah.
on. This-
That's why I like this show. You don't really got to do too much research. Let's talk some CanCon. Porto 2-1. Stefan Eustáquio scoring another goal.
Another one.
You look at Club Brugge, they're through, which means Buchanan and Laren on their way to the knockout stages. Bayern Munich, Alphonso Davies on his way to the knockout stage. Rangers with Scotty Arfield, one of the worst Champions League teams of all
the
time.
worst.
Oh, is it the
It was
worst?
The worst record, yeah.
Kinda sad. I
0
like
points
Rangers a
and-
lot. I like Scotty Arfield. We had a bet before we hit record on this camera. I said that Scott Arfield will be going to the World Cup with Canada. Mike said, no, we got a lunch bet.
We should talk about that on the show later today. That Arfield situation. I want to hear this argument. Okay.
Yeah, we'll get to some Canada. I had these guys predict their 11s for the Canadian team for their opening match against Belgium, so we definitely get into that. A lot of Scotty Arfield talk coming up, hopefully, as well. But thinking about the fact that there's 4 Canadian players heading into the knockouts of the Champions League. I mean, James, you've been covering Canadian soccer for such a long time.
Thanks.
55 years.
55 years. Yep. 55 years.
Before soccer existed in Canada.
Yep, yep.
How does this make you feel?
It's fantastic. It's crazy, and it's just a beginning, right? We're
Is it
gonna
kind of
see-
surreal?
Yeah, a little bit. It'll be surreal, I think, when we see Canada line up for the opening kickoff
Yeah.
against Belgium
I
in the
know.
World Cup, and we hear our anthem before then.
You think you get emotional?
Yeah.
What was
you will.
Oh, I think so.
1986 like?
I barely remember '86. I was
Really?
very well. I wasn't that young. I was pretty young though. I don't remember Canada. I remember them being involved because of my family had a connection with Canada.
Yeah.
But all I remember '86 was that person scoring that goal with his hand. That's what I remember. That's what just jumps out to me from '86.
Yeah.
Eh?
Canada. I don't
Bandwagoner.
remember. Paul James against Michel Platini in the midfield. I wish I did, but I don't remember that.
I don't think any of my family were even watching Canada at that time. I just don't. I was born in '88, obviously not '86, but I never heard anyone talk about Canadian soccer up until I don't know what 15 years ago.
Gold
Really?
Cup.
Well, hopefully it's more than that because I had a little show called Sports All back in 1997 that was covering
It was a great
Canadian
show.
soccer pretty closely,
It
let
was,
me
it
tell
was
you.
a great show. Do you think you get emotional when you see Canada?
Yeah,
On the pitch?
100%. I never thought in my lifetime I would see
Yeah.
this happen. I thought I was thrilled when Canada got the World Cup alongside Mexico and the U.S.
Yeah.
Figured there'd be an automatic entry into there, especially when they're expanding 48. I thought that would be the closest I'd come to seeing Canada at a World Cup. So,
Right.
yeah, and also the journey that this team's been on. I feel like I've been a part of this every step of the way, obviously covering the team very closely in press conferences, talking to the players, and I see
Yeah.
what they've gone through
Yeah.
and what this means to them. And honestly, what this means to me, man. I'm not gonna lie, I got a little teary-eyed when they qualified for the World
Oh,
Cup.
so did I. Yeah.
At BMO Field in Jamaica, like that's a night I'll never forget.
I'll never forget Craig Forrest that day.
Yeah, on the field,
Yeah.
Oh.
balling like a baby.
Yeah.
Jesus, Craig.
Yeah.
No dignity whatsoever. Joking.
He has such an attachment to that team.
Yeah, of
and what I
course.
was saying before about Pochettino and Spurs, how he bridged that gap between fans and the club and the players, that's what Herdman's done
Beyond.
with a nation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
it
think,
started with the women.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's how they did it, like you mentioned there, right? They did it just on their own terms. There's no luck involved, no controversies, scandals, not much adversity really, because they played so well from the opening kickoff,
Yeah.
and they got those results against Mexico and against the States. Just they bossed the region. They fully deserved to be at a World Cup. There's no like, well, it's a weak CONCACAF.
Right.
It was a weaker CONCACAF, but they dominated CONCACAF.
Yeah, definitely.
And now we've got another one to look forward to in 4 years' time. And then it's an expanded tournament. Ridiculous. But more berths from CONCACAF. Canada's going to be at the World Cup this point moving forward, right?
Yeah.
And we'll tell our kids about the days when they weren't qualifying for World Cup.
Unattached
and they'll say, really?
FC.
That can't be it."
Unattached FC.
Unattached
Yeah,
FC.
exactly, right?
Well, there's so many different layers to this as well, right? There's so many different stories. You look at the team itself, and as you know, obviously as a visible minority, I relate to this Canada team because they have so many players from different backgrounds. That's what Canada is,
Yeah.
right? You look at the face of the franchise, Alphonso Davies. We know his story and his backstory and how he came to become and just identify as a
Yeah.
Canadian, right? And
Yeah.
I think a lot of people can relate to that. And there's so many just different layers, different
That's a
stories
great
like
way,
that.
though. It's a great point, though, you made there, because they do represent the way Canada looks, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, their mentality is that traditional Canada, we love a good scrap.
Yeah,
We love a
that
bit of chaos.
Iceteka,
Yeah, right.
that was the most Canadian moment
Yeah,
for
exactly.
Canada soccer
So
ever.
It's holding to those roots
Yeah.
in many ways, but now it's progressed to the modern Canada. It's brilliant. It really is.
You guys making me emotional now talking.
I know,
Jesus.
man.
Well,
We got all
but-
month.
Sorry, Buzz Killington, producer Sean in my ears,
Oh,
wrapping
well,
us
way to
up.
go,
So we
Sean.
can't talk anymore, Sean. So stay tuned. Coming up on the show, we talk Canada, we talk World Cup,
Bit of World Cup in
TFC.
there, TFC.
and some TFC. Mikey's got some TFC, not TSC, TFC news. So please stay tuned for that. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Room442.
Lots of DP news.
Oh yeah,
TFC.
DP, lots of DP stuff as well.